basically what I want to say with things like that is it's like there's always a way somehow, and if you're not dying, you're having a great adventure.
Willkommen auf der Podcast-Route ist das hier.
Or said in other words, welcome to the podcast. With you today, Hajo, Emma, Christian, and that's it.
And that's it. As you already saw, this is a podcast with the best title that we ever made. So I hope you want to find out what is behind this crazy title and which stories Hajo will tell us today.
So join us on this rather quick overview of all of the things that he's done, since they just never stopped coming. I mean, just one after another. He survived in all of them, so it was a good adventure.
I guess it was. Lots of adventures, lots of trees, and even more trees, and amazing talk about nature.
Yeah, I really know him as someone who's bringing people together, so I really admire him for this and connect on this level. So yeah, beautiful to see him talk about it and all his plans for the future, which are equally crazy as his past. So yeah.
Enjoy. I hope he inspires you to do something crazy. Hello, Hajo.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
Sweet.
Oh, nice to have you.
Yeah.
So to start, a little introduction, yeah?
Very simple question.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm let's call it the traveler. I think all of us are somehow travelers here right now, or most of the people I'm meeting at the moment. But yeah, I'm from Germany. I'm 30 years old. I've been in New Zealand 1.5, like since end of September last year, I think. 1.5
like
years.
all of us.
Yeah. I'm here luckily because of the lockdown. People keep asking me if I'm getting trapped here, and I always say no. It's great and amazing here. So
Agree.
yeah, that's why I'm here in New Zealand and on Wahiki, because some of my friends are here and it's a beautiful place.
It's Wahiki.
Where were you before Wahiki? Just by the way.
Before Wahiki,
Were you in Raglan?
I was in Raglan for a while. Like I think I got a pretty good overview about New Zealand, also because after my work and holiday visa, I was on a visitor visa for 6 months or something. So I basically had the chance to travel and don't worry about working, which was really good. Otherwise about me, I studied forestry.
Forestry?
Yeah.
Wow! What do you do with that?
Basically back home, like I first studied in Hamburg, where I'm born, and studied wood science, which is basically if you're doing carpentry in practical, you can study it, which might have been not the smartest way of studying something so practical. But over that I got into forestry and arboristry, like working as an arborist, which is basically climbing trees and cutting them. Really like that and love that. And also over that I got in projects working in an adventure park, climbing park, as a raft guide. So I really like a combination of educational and working with people, but also working with nature or in nature. So that's basically my two passions. So basically nature and hopefully getting people into nature and bring them there, because I always think that nature is quite a happy place and you can't go wrong with it.
Very thematically, there's a background noise of our flatmate carpenter banging and using all the tools and working with wood, so we're on.
Which is great because it's a beautiful day outside, so he's using it.
Wow, yeah.
No, that's basically like group leading and forestry and working with trees are my two passions, I guess. Yeah, other than that, I studied for a year in Canada, which really was quite important for me and where I learned a lot. I studied a year in Freiburg, which is the southern part of Germany, the furthest away from home. I would say I'm traveling on and off since 6 years. So I started.
Wow, 6 years.
I started quite late, quite late with 23. I think most of the Germans are going to travel directly after school. I was quite unusual for me because I directly started to study and studied home. But from then on, I got into traveling. It started with the first a bike ride down from Vancouver to Mexico, which was really important for me, and I learned a lot.
With a bike?
Yeah.
Bicycle?
Yeah, like it was like 4,000 kilometers, just cycling for 3 months,
Nice.
camping every day, like basically, I think I spent not more than 10 days in a house, like over the 3 months there. Yeah, so that was really, really cool. And then I went to Costa Rica, met up with my dad there, stayed in Costa Rica for a month, and then traveled South America. And after that I came home, and yeah, people always saying traveling changed you quite a lot. So was it with me, and got quite depressed at home. And since then I basically tried to always, like, because home is my family and everything, a lot of friends, and I worked home until I was 23, so really still connected to home, but it's also Hamburg is quite flat and doesn't have much nature, so that's why I'm always trying to go to different places. And normally after that went off and like went to Vietnam for an internship, then came back, studied in Freiburg, studied in Canada, came back, worked in Tyrol and in Austria as a raft guide, and then came back, and then went off to New Zealand, and that's where we are right now. I guess that's a short story, like short story of the life, I guess.
I see also, as I know you as a person who loves adventure, seeing in this bicycle ride especially.
Yeah.
Like stuff like this really well represents, I feel, your spirit. But before that, before we go into all your crazy stories, I'm just interested in what's your relationship with nature? How do you see it? As human, as you individually, as a race? How do you see our dance?
Probably, yeah. I think it's always good for healing, but like it's nature is basically Mother Earth, kind of that. So it's really healing, and compared to people, it can't use wrong words. I think, I think people get sometimes with their ego in something, and I never got kind of hurt by nature. It's always just a learning. It's like even if there's a storm or something, I think that's the beauty about nature, and it just makes me sometimes sad if we are like destroying it. But I think nature itself is probably the biggest teacher we can have. I always see it more as a playground, and really enjoy it to see it as a playground we have to take care of, and as a home, basically playground and home. So if we take care of nature, nature takes care of us, and yeah, that's basically how I see nature. Not only for me because I'm a human, so it's probably in general for if all people would see it like me, and or see it similar. It's not that I think I'm still buying plastic and things like that, but if everyone would take more care, and I think it's just a problem of getting more out and like appreciating it and see it, and then like if we would more enjoy it, we would also take care more of it. Or it's basically the idea how I see it. That's why I try to get out as often as possible.
Beautiful. Yeah, I do know. The first time I met you, and since then I know you as a guy who's really protecting this one special bay here on Waiheke, and trying to take care of nature here, trying to people to see how beautiful it is. So I do see that this is really important for you.
Yeah, and Waiheke has luckily, like for the listeners, Waiheke is the island next to Auckland. So Auckland is a big, ugly city of New Zealand where every traveler is landing. And when I came first to New Zealand, actually my friend recommended me to come to Auckland and leave Auckland the same day. I somehow stayed there for 3 days. Don't know why. But yeah, Waiheke is basically just 40 minutes away from Auckland, and so ferry. A lot of with the ferry. If you swim, it's probably longer. If you sail, it's longer.
If you swim,
with a helicopter it's probably shorter.
Yeah,
I think it's 12 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: there are 42 helicopter pads on Wahiki. I learned that today. I don't know, just because. So it's shorter with a helicopter, and but with a ferry 40 minutes. And apparently Wahiki has 1 million visitors per year. So all the Aucklanders are basically looking for the nature, but normally just come over here and then sip a wine. And I think that's quite sad because
Super wine, yeah.
because Wahiki has so much more to offer than just helicopter over or building a other shitty house here for 1 million and then leave. So I think Wahiki, like, I couldn't imagine to stay on an island. Like, it's a super small island. I think it's 70 kilometers long or 19. So quite small.
It's 92 square kilometers altogether.
No, it's 19 kilometers long.
19
just
kilometers, yeah.
On the longest part, which I think that's the number. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah, it's super tiny. So, and I'm normally completely a mountain person. So I have been here now for 2 months and still have some adventures left. So that's quite unexpected for me. But yeah, I really like it, and it's mostly because of the community. I think because there are great people here.
Yeah, I think this island is all about community. For me, people here, this is the best part of living here.
Yeah.
Just walking on the street, knowing everyone, smiling with everyone. You know that everyone will support you. It's perfect.
And I also think it's kind of a microcosmos of the world, kind of, because there are a few really, really rich people, and it's known as a hippie island. I think that was how it first appeared in the media, but then the rich people came over from Auckland.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting of seeing this created in a super small space. And it's also like a super small example of New Zealand. Like, it has the mountains, it has the sea. Like, it's basically New Zealand is small and you can travel it easy, and it has almost everything of the world. And then Wahiki is even smaller, and except of the rough mountains for mountaineering, I think it has almost all the parts of New Zealand. Maybe also nice big rivers are missing, but yeah, it's a super interesting island. So whoever is around New Zealand or ever want to visit Wahiki, it's a pretty cool place.
Pretty cool place.
Have you ever seen anything similar to Wahiki in terms of community and I don't know, just the atmosphere it's holding?
No, I think Wahiki is super special community-wise. And it's, I don't know, it's super hard to explain, and it's just how it is. So I guess you have to experience it yourself. I think on festivals have some times this community feeling. So Wahiki sometimes feels like and there's a lot of going on. So it feels almost like a big festival island, but you also have those things of working between, like work and relaxing. So it's a long festival, a 2 months long festival right now for me, where you always come into your groups again, like in your 10 groups or whatever you want to call them, and then you're leaving again. So yeah, that's probably the best I could describe the community here. Yeah.
Just I would say this for everyone who's listening. Festivals in New Zealand are usually alcohol-free and super, like, spiritual, amazing, and community connection, stuff like this. It's not like festivals back home in Europe that I imagine.
Yeah, I think it also depends on what kind of festivals you're interested in and where you're going.
Sure.
But luckily I've been to, like, this summer I've been to quite a lot of festivals, and that's also part of the community here, because the people who like this kind of festivals, let's call them again hippies. However, a few of them ended up on Wahiki, and so you know them before, and that forms a community as well. And the festivals I went on in New Zealand were mostly alcohol free, and it has a special vibe. Maybe just to put that out here as well. They are quite also cultural, with the Maori background, which is always really nice, like trying a hangi or having a Maori introduction into the place and the story about the place where you are, for example. And then it's nice because it's not about drinking or something, but it's about the experience, and it's normally also a mix of not only dancing and partying, but also having workshops during the day. Like most of the festivals have workshops during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So there are normally people who dance a bit, but other people who are there mostly because of the workshops. So that's a pretty cool environment on festivals. And then they're normally over after 3 or 5 days. And here on Waiheke it's just ongoing, I guess.
Yeah, I was feeling like that last year when we came here. So often I was feeling, oh my god, it's just a festival.
How long have you been here?
We did spend half a year before, and now we're here for 2 months already.
Okay, yeah.
And even I've been here 3.5 months alone even before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So together always.
Yeah.
Years.
Years and years.
Yeah, good place.
Good place.
Yeah, personally, even though you're not a local or whatever this means, would you want to see more people here? For the sake of each individual, or in general, you would like to see more people experience this, or
it's always a tricky question of, I mean, it has space for apparently 1 million people visiting, but I also only have been here over winter, and it's apparently the quiet time.
Yes.
And
Oh
it's
my
still
god, it's so busy this winter actually.
Yeah, but I think if they're always saying that there is a quote, nature has, or the world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's grief. And I think it's the same with Waiheke, like, if people from Auckland coming over and experience Waiheke, or even nature, or both, it can just help them. And if you're not doing something like motorboating, but kayaking, like, it doesn't harm nature, I would say. So
Yes.
so it's just the idea of how you want to experience nature. If you need this fun, higher, more blah 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 factor, or if you, and that's another problem with the harbor project I would like to talk about later on now. So I think it's more about how you experience things, and then if 100 people sitting around on the grass, it doesn't harm anything.
Yes.
Or anyone. So if everyone takes his rubbish home, it doesn't harm. And a few things I learned in New Zealand, for example. One thing is really important is the Tiaki promise. I really like. So it's basically leave no trace, like kind of the typical things. But I think it's a beautiful promise you're giving if you enter the country and leave it better than before. So if people come over from Auckland and everyone would plant a tree and feel the ground like 1 million people, all the trees would be planted within a year. Like it's just a thing of how you want to see it, and that's basically, I don't know if it's better than drinking wine, but it's a other way of doing it. It's basically again this festival seeing way if you're coming over for somewhere to party in nature and drinking wine, or if you're saying, whoa, I want to leave this place better for my kids or my children and the next generation. And then you basically plant a tree. I think planting trees, I'm a forester, so it's basically the easiest and simplest and smartest way of taking care about the future. Like, I think Albert Einstein said that or something. I felt super welcome on the island from the first point, and then there are other people coming over. I not want to take the alcohol example again, but just going somewhere, having a drink in a local or a restaurant, what they could do in Auckland or anywhere else as well, and then leaving again, and it's not really experience another place or seeing something. So I always think, well, you're coming, or I came over to New Zealand for the nature, and I came over to Waiheke for the nature and the community, and I think that's basically the first idea of traveling, like experience something, and sometimes get quite sad with people just, well, let's go over there and take a picture and sit on the smartphone and watch a movie, and you can do that everywhere. Like, you can basically do that at home, and if you're not open for new people and coming somewhere with the same people and then doing the same stuff, it's, in my eyes, not really traveling.
Yeah, I always saw this, that living on Waiheke, it's much different than visiting Waiheke.
Yeah.
Because Waiheke is such a tourist place, and it's made for rich people, kind of. Tourist.
Yeah, and I think
tourism for rich people, kind of, So you experience a different thing, completely different.
Yeah. And I think the older locals are more open to like, they are super welcoming to backpackers. It's really nice. Like, they want to share their
Yeah, they're so sweet. Everyone is so sweet.
Their knowledge and everything. For example, when I first came, I ended up I don't know how I ended up there, but at Potiki Bay they were looking for kayak activists, and I thought, well, kayaking in a bay sounds good. And
Nice.
ended up there and camped there, and it was with some, I hope I pronounced it right, Nangapawa, the Maori tribe. Anyways, learned a bit about their culture, and they doing every morning they doing a sing-song, like doing a morning reading, and I forgot the name. And that's beautiful, and then you're starting the day, and at the Potiki Bay, like, children are playing around in the sand, and other people coming by, and then you're going kayaking, and guess I was there during day 60 to 70, and experience at Camp Venice was quite without a lot of not the phase of protest it is in right now, where it's quite violent and people are angry at each other. So that's why I'm not there anymore, because I was mostly there because I enjoyed the place and the people there. And now it's a little bit of people against each other, and also in it, like the protest camp itself, like I stayed there for around 10 days, 2 weeks. Like there are different people, like there are young people who care about the environment, and the Nangi Power, the Maori people who have are still in this historical process of their land got stolen, and sounds a little bit like it's a sad story in history, but but also I sometimes didn't feel like welcome of being part of the protest, because I'm not a Maori, but I still can care about something beautiful, I think.
Yeah, so what Hajo is talking, just to explain so people know what you're talking about. Here on Waiheke, there's one bay that they are transforming into the marine, and for months the protests are going on because Maori people want to protect their land. And yes, Hajo is describing his experience about it.
And like before they planned a harbor something else, a Matiatea. Now they went to Potiki Bay, and apparently they built a pretty big harbor project for a couple of rich boats, and it's now a beautiful little bay with some sailboats. And I personally think if you want to have a big super yacht, you can stay in Auckland and come over. It makes no sense for me to come over and having a big house here and then another big boat, when you probably can, for the prices where you can leave the boat there, you can helicopter over to Auckland and take the boat from there. So that's the controversial part on Waiheke, I think, that it gets more and more like the rest of the world, basically used for capitalism of people. And that's it. And it would be nice if people just could take the time to experience the bay and basically sitting there for a day. I mean, if you build a project for, I think it's ongoing for almost 5 years now, with all the process before, you should be able to at least just spend a day or 2 or 3 experience the bay and talking to the people. And it's just a dilemma of this time that it's now I think the person who is doing the project never even showed up there or is into a conversation. Instead, there are sometimes 100 police officers to remove 4 protesters. And I always think it could be easier and people should be smarter than we are. Yeah, that's basically the Potiki Bay experience. But I would recommend everyone to maybe just go there for a day and zoom a little bit out of the dispute between the people, but just seeing the bay and enjoying the bay, because it's still a beautiful bay.
And I just remembered one thing that you said before about if everybody would come over here, million people, and plant a tree.
Yeah.
Well, you know that people in New Zealand, when you get a residency, you have a ceremony and you plant a tree.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know about that.
It's beautiful, huh?
Yeah, maybe it would be, if you're just coming over, it would be super cool if every traveler, imagine that, but just plant a tree if you put your hands in the soil of a country, it's just a beautiful metaphor, like, I guess, of planting a tree and at some point coming back and saying, "Whoa, I planted this tree." And I think if we would do that, like every traveler in every country, just planting a tree, and also for the O2 emissions, like I think a few people paying this O2 emissions, CO2 emissions for flights. But if we would act ourselves instead of bringing it always to other organizations, it would be actually somehow get more in our head. Yeah, maybe Wahiki could be a cool example for that. Every time a ferry is arriving, you give him a tree and giving him a place.
There's not enough place to plant the trees.
Oh, there is. Like, I went to a few tree plantings now, and actually there is even a trust, WRT, who is paying people to plant trees.
To just plant trees.
Yeah.
I mean, would be an option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to put an idea out there into the world. Wahiki is a super nice example for quite a few projects, and it's easy because it's a small island. Like, it wants to be the first pest-free urban island, like with people living on it, until 2050, I think. The Kai Conscious Coffee is every Friday at 1, people cooking and sharing meals there. So there are some cool ideas which could be a great example for the world, I think.
Yes, and also all the buses are already electrical.
Yeah, for example, they want to make the ferries electrical, and I think the world needs kind of this little examples.
One little one that I found was when I saw the first time on Wahiki, the garbage truck was electric.
Nice.
And always this is like such a big thing when it roams through the neighborhood, like dum, dum, dum. And it was just, like just there silently going by.
Yeah.
Like,
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're in the future.
and compared to other parts of New Zealand, the waste recycling management is quite German, and they're putting
Quite German.
like they sort the waste in a really, really good way.
Nice.
And they have, for example, Visca here, which is a recycle shop, and I think it's just hard to explain all of the different examples, but it's just sometimes you have to experience things yourself.
Yes.
Um,
Also, what you mentioned, Visca here, I found this amazing in the whole New Zealand. It's such a culture of recycled second-hand clothes, things, furniture, whatever you want, and you get everything super cheap, no stigma, no problem, and you're taking care of the earth. So it's wow, I love this. This is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, the recycle culture in New Zealand is kind of outstanding, I think. Just to mention it.
Look, I wear everything from Visca at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I have 2 pieces.
Visca the sponsor.
Yeah, so thanks to Visca, our sponsor here. No, that's that.
The first time I heard about you, or I saw a picture of you, or whatever it was when you did I don't know, organic festival, or how you call it, in Raglan, which was just like presence in the space and seeing how things turn up, and doing the same in Wahiki. I think you call it Kioram. So yeah, I see you as a person who organizes, who brings people together, who's doing the festival-minded oriented events. So how do you feel about this? Organizing, what do you do? How do you do it?
Oh,
why?
No, it's like the Kiora Festival is one of the things I'm just trying, and actually I just went to so many festivals this summer that I really enjoyed it, and there are not many festivals over the winter, and also you try always to see things and maybe try to improve them, or however, or make your experience and share it with others. Basically, it's not even improving, it's just like you want to I think it's one of the human things that you want to share what you know and want to teach others, like at least I feel it like that. And festivals are probably the best place to do that, like if you're doing it in the right way, like not the drinking way, but bringing people in a short time together distracted from any phones and things and living in tents, and then you can just share your knowledge, like if you have the materials and everything, and that's a beautiful way. And I sometimes I'm sad with festivals because a lot of the thing is like partying and people just coming together to celebrating themselves or people, while I always, like I said, I see a lot of potential if people coming together and doing the right thing. And somehow going back to the tree planting thing, because maybe it's just my forestry background, but like if you have all the people there and you would basically not celebrating for 24 hours but take 2 hours of this time for doing something together, and then I think it's beautiful to see a result in things you have done by hand. Like it makes people super happy. If I'm carpentry something, or if I'm right now building my van, and even if it's small steps, or planting a tree, or I met a guy who built his boat and his house, which is incredible. Like if you're doing things like that, and it might take more time, and it's a problem of this century that people don't have time because they're working too hard to earn money, and then other people build for them. But I think if we going a little bit back there and then appreciate what we have done and can be proud on things we have done, that's something, probably one of the most beautiful things. So it would be nice if you have 400 people on a festival together and you care about the place and people on festival saying that, then it would be nice to just do something sometimes. I think that's my feeling right in the moment. Like I went to a few festivals who had the festivals and then after that invited for a tree planting day, and it's often quite not tempting for people. Or I went to festivals where we met for 5 days to build things up and helping building things up, and then had the festival for 3 days, and then it took another 4 days to take it down, which is not a waste of resources or waste of human capacity, but I mean, I volunteered at all the festivals because I want to be a part of the festival, and sometimes I just think if you organize things better and people creating the festival, then celebrating and then take it down, or it would be just a even deeper experience for people. So that's the idea with the Kiaora. Like I want to bring the festivals to already existing communities where basically, like in Wahiki, you have everything there. I had one weekend where we did a Sighturns party organized by a friend, and then a sound journey the next evening, and then what else? I don't know. But single people say, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they create, and then they ask 2 other people for help, and it's there. Like the sound systems are basically somehow, like you just need to know the right people. So the idea is to bring with the Kiora, to bring something into something already existing. And there is a drum circle here, for example. I forgot the drum circle, it's a mystery school, but it's already, everything is existing, and then you can use the spare time where you don't have to build something or create something for something like tree planting or going for a hike with a friend, and then in the evening you drumming, and that's basically the idea of the festival. And it's just really cool to, like, Kiaroma means hello and also thank you in Maori, so it's basically hello to where I'm coming to, and then also thank you for being here. And that's basically the idea of the Kiaora festival, to use the existing communities and doing something good for the community. And it can be picking up the trash or planting a tree. Like, I think every human basically knows what is good for the planet and what's probably not good for the planet, and what it's good for you and what it's not good for you. And it's just kind of a laziness we have.
Do you believe that? Do you think that everyone really knows what is good?
I think, normally there's so many documentaries that you should know, hey, plastic in the ocean, not good. Or
but I'm not throwing it in the ocean, that's what
people
see. I'm not contributing to plastic
yeah,
pollution.
but
I
I think
I live in Freiburg.
Yeah, but I think like deep in their heart, it's
yeah.
like if you're a little bit open to what's going on in the world, we should basically know. And yeah, if you see, like I saw dolphins here on Wahiki, and if you just see dolphins and can swim with dolphins, like it's just a memorable experience you can have.
Yeah, I like your idea. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, I do understand why people are doing festivals to just, celebrate themselves. This is beautiful. We also need this, I believe, and to also celebrate Mother Earth together. It's a great idea.
Yeah. So that's a Kiora festival. Another project I did just this morning. I don't know. On the computer there was from Nikon, the camera. They put out an ocean grant, basically giving $5,000 away for doing something in the ocean, educational, environmental, or community-wise, and also thought about Wahiki there, and it's a beautiful thing. And the idea is because I think the island has this potential of not just seeing an island from the island, which is beautiful, but the coastlines of the island are incredible. Like
my God,
one of the projects personal adventures I'm doing and hopefully finishing, if you want to call it finishing, this weekend is to stand up paddleboard around Wahiki. Basically, if you see the coastline and all the beaches around an island from the water perspective, it's incredible. And that's the idea of the sailboat regatta, however you want to call it, that getting people together on a sailboat, like different initiatives and different people, because there are a lot of people with a background in conservation here and people who are just taking care of the community and have so much knowledge. But normally we somehow get distracted with work or something else. But on a sailboat, you cannot go anywhere. So it would be cool to get a few sailboats together. And maybe we don't even need the grant. Maybe it's just something like if enough people say, well, I want to sail for 2 or 3 days and enjoy it with cool people. Maybe we can even get that together. Anyways, to sail around the island and also sail to Auckland, or start in Auckland, sail around Wahiki, and then sail to Great Barrier Island, just because I somehow spoke with the Wahiki bike shop, which is a really cool bike shop. But they're cool, they're friends, and super nice, and gave me a helmet because they thought it's safer with a helmet. Anyways, they have the idea of cycling on Great Barrier Island, and I thought it's super cool to just do a sailing cycle trip over to Great Barrier Island and cycle there, and doing it completely logical as an example, and also show if you're starting in Auckland, you see this really big mega city. Wahiki is an example between, and Great Barrier Island is it's kind of an island further away from Wahiki. I think, I don't know how many hours, but there is basically no electricity, only a few humans are living there. Yeah, it's super pristine with a lot of wildlife, and it's basically how Wahiki was probably 50 years ago. So it would be nice to show people all this difference and basically showing people, well, that's what we are fighting or what we are trying to keep. So, and yeah, that's basically the grant I'm applying for, but I think we actually don't even need a grant for that. It's basically just getting enough sailboats together and getting time together and the right people together, and then sail around Wahiki and enjoy it and stay on beaches, and then go to Great Barrier Island and experience Great Barrier with a bicycle. And yeah, maybe we cut Auckland out, I'm not sure. It's actually not worth it.
There's plenty of sailboats to go around. I mean, just look out the window and...
My God, everybody has a sailboat here.
So yeah, that's another idea, and I think that's nice too. And just
Beautiful
on the sailboats, having different workshops and playing music in the evening. Basically, another festival idea, like Kiora on sails or whatever you want to call it.
Swimming.
But yeah, I think you have more time if you're not getting distracted and only have a small space. So, and then you can focus more on yourself.
Have you done in this ground of festivals and crazy ideas anything else besides cycling from Vancouver to Mexico?
Yeah, maybe some stories about past adventures. Just so people can trust me and not thinking it's crazy. So far I survived all of the adventures, which is sometimes lucky.
Which is sometimes lucky.
But
Fair
also I worked with quite a little bit in the adventure park at risk assessment and did workshop at risk assessment. So I put a little bit credit onto my adventure plans as well, even they're normally sounding really unplanned and stupid. Sharing adventures is always a little bit like, I try to not put it in a ego way and saying, well, that's what I done. It's more encouragement of, hey, it's cool and I really enjoyed it, and it's more encouraging people of doing it, even if it maybe sounds sometimes crazy or adventurous, I don't know. So yeah, like I said, the bike ride from Vancouver to Mexico was probably one of my biggest and start adventures, and it was like, it's basically just a step by step. Like, I didn't cycle every day like 100 kilometers. Sometimes I cycled 30 kilometers or stayed in a city for a few days and met people. It's just like showing that even an adventure which sounds long and crazy maybe now for some people, like it's something really achievable if you want to do it shortly. And just starting is normally the hardest part.
For sure.
So I basically never say, well, you can't do it, but I'm always open to say at some point in the adventure, oh, I have an exit here, or I think that's the important thing. I think there are nothing like a too crazy adventure, and you can put it out there. And like, I sometimes try to post it on social media just to find the right people, and quite often get sometimes really discouraging answers of saying, well, you can't do that, that's dangerous, and do you know what you're doing? And it's one of the problems of judging before you even trying, like, and it's really easy on social media, so I would like to say that
people are scared of.
Or scared because they don't have done it themselves, instead of encouraging people. Anyways, so I would always say, well, try things, and then, like, I never had the bad experience of trying something, and then even if I'm saying, well, nope, it's not gonna happen, it's too crazy, I just say, well, I tried it, and I put all my, or not even all my effort in it, but always like tried my best, and normally the outcome is always a success, I think, when I'm playing in nature. So got also some lucky adventure, like a really cool adventure was also running in Canada, the Sunshine Coast line with a friend. He was training for ultra marathon, and that one got cancelled because of a fire in British Columbia, and he changed his plans without 2 days and came to me visiting me in Vancouver. That was after studying in Canada, and then we ran the longest hut trail. Like in New Zealand there are a lot of huts, in Canada not, and it was a 180 kilometer trail in 5 days, so that was a super cool adventure. And the Sunshine Coastline, like, the huts are, I think you giving a donation in the end, so it's like you don't even need to carry your tent or something. It's a super accessible, beautiful trail if you're ever on the west coast of Canada, and it's one of my favorite trails. I tried to do the most beautiful Ironman, which was in the Rocky Mountains, swimming in Lake Louise, cycling the what's the name of the road? The highways through the Rockies. Anyways, from Banff to Jasper, which is 230 kilometers, and then running the Iceline trail in Jasper, which is around 42 kilometers, so perfect for an Ironman. So that was basically the idea. And then on the way I noticed that, well, probably the water is in a glacial lake. Swimming 4 kilometers is way too cold, and I probably get a super cold when I'm doing that. So in the end I subbed it and didn't swim it, which is not a real Ironman anymore, but it's more about the experience. And on the bike ride I got completely, because it was a super rainy day, it didn't work out anyways, but I got picked up by a car when I was shivering on the roadside, and got a hot chocolate in the campground. So I just thought and ended up in the middle of the night in the youth hostel where I slept on the floor, and then started the next day and couldn't make it to the run I was planned because I was just super sick and completely kind of exhausted. So I got a car from a friend there, and then because he was running the trail and I drove the car for 10 minutes and then ended up completely falling asleep and just slept for 3 hours on the side of the road. And basically what I want to say with things like that is it's like there's always a way somehow, and if you're not dying, you're having a great adventure. And that's basically the idea of it. Another example for that is probably in Ecuador, just getting started. In Ecuador there is the Camino del Condor, which is a trail up on 4,000 meters, and somehow that was when I was really sporty and in a great motivation, and I somehow thought I can run a 60-kilometer trail in 4,000 meter.
Wow!
And that one didn't work out at all because somehow it probably started also too late, and the hitchhike there took a while. But after 30 kilometers, it got a little bit dark and it was raining, and I got into a hypothermia again, and got really lucky because there was a 12-year-old Peruvian girl coming on a horse and basically asked me, what the hell are you doing here, because I was in the middle of nowhere. So they brought me in their area where they didn't even have, it was a cow farmer, and they didn't have light or anything there, but they gave me some soup, and then I had to wait for their dad coming back, and they drove me to this town. So I had a great adventure, but it could have been really, really bad.
Yeah.
So sometimes I got really lucky, but yeah, it's the days and the memories you're looking back and which are forming you. In New Zealand, there are 2 adventures which I really, which were kind of outstanding for me. One was paddling down the Clusa River on a stand-up paddleboard in winter. That was after lockdown, which was probably just because I got so bored during lockdown that I needed adventure again to feel a little bit alive. So the Clusa River is the second longest river on New Zealand, and it's by volume the highest one. And there are 10 great walks on New Zealand, and one is the Whanganui River. I like paddling the Whanganui, but if someone is a little bit more adventurous and has some kayaking background, just because it goes to grade 3 kayaking grade, or whitewater grade, which is there's grade from 1 till 5, just for safety reasons, because I worked as a raft guide. Anyways, so yeah, paddling down that river was really, really cool because I had the perspective from the river on the landscape, and you basically, I called the journey Ki Uta Ki Tai, which means from the mountains to the sea, because you're going all the way from Wanaka, from the mountains, through the Otago Valley down to close to the Dunedin, Kaka Point, and end up at the sea, and it's like a 330-kilometer journey on the river, and you're floating through all the different parts. And in Cromwell, you are in an old historic gold town, and then you're paddling over this lake sometimes, and then the river, it's really, really rough and wild at the beginning, and then it gets really wide and it's just streaming really slow through, I think, Noto Fago or beach forest things, and yeah, that was great. And the second one was on Raikiura, Stuart Island, which is probably it's the anchor of New Zealand. If you have 3, a lot of people think New Zealand are 2 islands, but apparently in the Maori culture it's the 3 main islands. The North Island, then the South Island. I think one of them is a boat. I think the South Island, and the other in the story anyway, Stuart Island is the anchor of the boat, like holding all of New Zealand, so it's not floating away. And like it's because there are only 400 people living there in one town, like it's Oban, where all the people are living, and you're going over by a ferry, and the ferry ride is way rougher normally than any other ferry ride, just because the sea there is way more rough. Yeah, and then you're going down, and there is a great walk, the Raikiura walk, which is 32 kilometers, and the west coast northwest circuit is a 125 kilometer hike through mud, and
Through mud.
and yeah, it's like there are huts every 18 kilometers, but it's really isolated. I think the year I did it, like last year, only 300 people did it, and it's a great. I think it's probably the best short-term test if you want to do the TA. Like,
At the walk from the top to the bottom.
yeah. I think if you ever think seriously about it, it would be really good experience for everyone to start with the Northwest Circuit or the trail on Stuart Island, because it shows like also Stuart Island is this microcosmos of New Zealand again, because it has all the different landscape and it has the coastlines, and compared to the rest of New Zealand, it has quite a lot of real kiwis, like not the fruit and not the people, but bird. So there are really good chances to see the bird.
Oh, mate, you saw one?
Yeah, I saw 2 and heard like 10 or something. Yeah, no, and like it was probably 2 or 3 meters from me.
You know what I'm thinking? You said there is 400 people living on Stuart Island altogether. We were doing the Great Walk around Lake Waikaremoana, and we met 4 people from Stuart Island.
Really?
That means we met 1% of all the population of the Stuart Island.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Did they all hike together? Or?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure, or one group.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, but Stuart Island is like a lot of Kiwis haven't been to Stuart Island, and it's a beautiful island. Like, here's this little small island seem to be a thing in New Zealand. Like, if New Zealand gets too big for you, really recommend the small islands. Yeah, and apart from the Great Barrier sailing adventure, like depends how long the visa is getting extended. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I'm probably planning to have a van tour down to Wanaka for skiing, and after that the idea is to hopefully sell the van and get a sailboat instead of that, and then sail down the coastline. So if anyone has tips or tricks or want to join for that, I'm always happy to do things with other people together. Like that's basically always the idea, to get the right people together, because happiness is only real when shared or if shared. So that's basically one of the idea of the podcast, why I'm talking so much, and I think I'm normally quite a quiet person. It's basically motivating you and other people for doing things together and getting more often out into nature.
And plant a tree.
And plant a tree. That's basically the motivation of the podcast, why I'm talking here, and eating cookies and having a nice time with friends. What a suffering moment. Like, I'm not doing that for fun. Cool. I think that's probably the closing words.
Yeah, beautiful invitation for the end.
Yeah.
Well, you finish like this, we finish a bit differently, so we have a game for you.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so it's a quick game, super fun. We have questions that are maybe not so short, but you are to give short answers. So, a word, a sound,
or a sentence. Or 2 sentences.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, just not the whole story of Ecuador, but whatever comes. Cool.
Okay, first question. What do you think is the greatest skill to have in life?
Having no expectations and always open to learn.
Okay, so imagine you have a superpower that you can change one thing in the world overnight. So it can be a belief that people hold, or a reality about the state of the planet or the culture in general. What would that one thing that you would change overnight be?
Put the pollution and the trash and maybe even all the buildings back for 50 years and start again. This the other belief. Yeah.
This is incredible, because yesterday we had one girl here also in the interview. She answered almost the same. She said, if I could do something, I would take all the trash away and all the CO2 that's excess. Like,
yeah,
it's
just a ticking bomb, I think, and it would be like, I think a lot of people are like that. Like, I always learn for exams or doing study things in the last moment, and it took me so much time to learn that it's way more relaxing to do things way earlier. And I think as humans, we are right now at the point where we say, "Whoa, a ticking time bomb. We might fail, or we might not, but let's don't." Yeah, it's really hard or really stupid to put things on the last moment.
Yeah, let's not even try to fail.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Next question. So, do you have any wildest dreams in terms of your adventures? Like, what is one amazing adventure that you want to do in your life?
Oh, probably sailing around the world at some point, and I still want to go to Yukon, like, to the north of Canada, because that looks like probably one of the wildest places.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, in terms of you were traveling a lot, working a lot of different places and things, what was the craziest but also the best job you ever had?
It's hard to answer because I think you can learn something from each job. But the longest job I worked was in an adventure park in Germany, and I worked there almost 10 years, so it was an amazing and great time. And really miss and love the people there. And then arborist is as well a dream job. Like, all my jobs looking back are kind of dream jobs. But, and I'm really grateful that I get paid for stuff like that.
That's amazing to hear. Okay, so imagine you meet yourself 6 years ago or 7 years ago before you went traveling. What advice would you give to yourself?
Maybe being a little bit more relaxed about I had also quite a few depression phases in my life, and they were really hard, and but I also learned a lot there, so somehow tell myself to be more relaxed about the downs. Otherwise, I did quite a lot of things right in the last 6 years, to be fair. To be honest,
amazing. I know you're always wearing smiley faces and you're drawing smiley faces everywhere, so I want to know, why do you do that? What does this mean to you?
Oh, I'm a really bad artist, and probably smileys are the easiest thing to paint, and making happy instantly happy. So I somehow started to take pictures of smileys, and the involvement of that is to draw them myself. So and it became a thing. I don't know why.
Always I see you with the pants with smileys like now, or t-shirt where you draw a smiley, or a backpack with a smiley.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. You normally need. It's a really good starter for a conversation somehow. Yeah. Never had a bad conversation about a smiley, so keep it going.
Okay, so for the last one, in short, what do you believe in? What's your motivation to wake up? To do anything, basically.
Personal improvement, I guess, and learning. You get influenced by podcasts and things like that, but I heard a really beautiful podcast of, I forgot her first name, Tompkins, from the Tompkins Conservation in Patagonia. And she said, every day you're waking up to do something good and being a little bit better. So it's probably the easiest and best thing of, when I was depressed, sometimes you're just hoping the day's going over, and it's a total lose of a day. So now I'm basically trying to at least enjoy the day, but also learn something, and might sometimes just a super little thing, or sometimes just you don't even need to notice it, but going a step forward and not backward. And that can be meeting a new stranger or friend, or meet up with a friend, or having a conversation, or building on your van. It can be everything, as long as you're feeling happy in the end of the day. It has been a good day. And nice. I try not to have seeing this monetary, also for work, because not seeing it as the main point, and it's sometimes hard, but normally I try to find jobs where I say, well, that's what I believe in, and then that's what I'm doing. oh, that's why I'm doing it, and it's not only for money or something, just to improve and learn. And I think, like I said, we can learn from almost everyone and almost everything, and we can learn from failure probably more than from success. But like we just need to do something and not overthink things and just try things, and it's pretty simple normally. Like life is simple. Everyone says that, and I guess sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
Yeah. Great ending. Life is simple.
Yeah.
You know what they say.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Wonderful.
amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Hajo. That was
It was
great.
beautiful. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Alright.
Nice.
Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day.
Yep.
Lots of love.
Bye bye.